Subhuti asked, "What should be known as perfect purity of thought on the part of this bodhisattva?" The Lord said, "As those wholesome roots of his go on increasing, in due course he will gain a state of mind where he has few cares, and is free from treachery, deceit, crookedness, and craftiness. In addition, his perfect purity of thought also consists in that he has transcended the level of disciples and pratyeka Buddhas. Furthermore, an irreversible bodhisattva is not one to attach weight to gain, honor, or fame, or to robes, alms bowls, lodging, or medicinal appliances for use in sickness. He is not one who is full of envy and meanness. And when deep dharmas are being taught, he does not lose heart. But his intelligence becomes steady. His intelligence goes deep. With respect, he hears the dharma from others. All the dharmas which he hears from others he unites with the perfection of wisdom, and also all worldly arts and professions he unites, thanks to the perfection of wisdom, with the nature of dharma. There is not any dharma which he does not see as yoked to the nature of dharmas, and each dharma he sees simply as engaged in that effort." Mara's deeds. Furthermore, Mara, the evil one, conjures up a vision of the 8 great hells, with many hundreds, many thousands, many hundreds of thousands of bodhisattvas in them, and he says to the irreversible bodhisattva, "Those bodhisattvas described by the Tathagata as irreversible have been reborn in the great hells. Just so you also, since you have been described as irreversible, will fall into the great hells. Confess that the thought of enlightenment was an error. Abandon it. What is Buddhahood to you? In that way you will avoid rebirth in the hells. If you act thus, you will be one who goes to heaven." If even then the mind of the bodhisattva does not waver, is not put out, if he is certain in his knowledge that an irreversible bodhisattva cannot possibly be reborn against his will in the hells, then this is another token of his irreversibility. Furthermore, Mara, the evil one, may come along in the guise of a shramana and say, "Give up what you have heard up to now. Abandon what you have gained so far, and if you follow this advice, we will again and again approach you to say to you, 'What you have heard just now, that is not the word of the Buddha. It is poetry, the work of poets. But what I here teach you, that is the teaching of the Buddha. That is the word of the Buddha.'" If, on hearing that, a bodhisattva wavers and is put out, then one should know that he has not been predicted by the Tathagata, that he has not fixed on full enlightenment, that he does not stand firmly in the element of irreversibility. But if, even when he has heard these words of Mara, he does not waver, but flees back to the nature of dharma, to non-production, to non-stopping, to the unaffective, then he is not one of those who put their trust in others. An arhat, a monk whose outflows are dried up, does not go by someone else whom he puts his trust in, but he has placed the nature of dharma directly before his own eyes, and Mara has no access to him. Just so, an irreversible bodhisattva cannot be crushed by persons who belong to the vehicle of the disciples and pratyeka Buddhas. He cannot by his very nature backslide into the level of disciple or pratyeka Buddha. He is fixed on all knowledge and ends up in perfect enlightenment. It is quite certain that a bodhisattva who stands firm in the element of irreversibility cannot possibly be led astray by others. Furthermore, someone will come to the irreversible bodhisattva and say, "A journey in birth and death is this coursing in perfect wisdom, and not the journey of someone who is in quest of enlightenment. put an end to all suffering in this very life. You will then no longer experience all the sufferings and disappointments which are bound up with the plane of birth and death. Aye, surely, in this very life already will this personality of yours be finished. Why do you think of taking upon yourself another one for the sake of all beings? If even then the Bodhisattva neither wavers nor is put out, then Mara himself will say to him, "Just have a look at those Bodhisattvas who, for countless eons, have presented the necessities of life to the Buddhas, the lords, who have led holy lives in the presence of countless Buddhas, who have honored countless Buddhas and lords, have questioned them about just this vehicle of the Bodhisattvas, have asked them how a Bodhisattva should stand, have heard the answer of the Tathagatas, and have acted on it. In spite of the fact they have stood, coursed, and exerted themselves as they should, to this very day they have not yet known full enlightenment. They stand firm in their instructions, they train themselves as they should, but they have not reached all knowledge. How then will you reach full enlightenment, ever? If even then he does not waver and is not put out, then Mara, the evil one, will conjure up some monks in that place and say, 'Those monks have become arhats, with their outflows dried up. They who have set out for enlightenment in the meantime have reached arhatship and become established in it. How will you ever reach full enlightenment?' It is quite certain that a bodhisattva must be irreversible from full enlightenment if, when this is being said and expounded, his mind does not waver and is not put out. If the mind of a bodhisattva who has heard from a stranger these discouraging remarks is not excluded from the true nature of Dharma, if he does not go back on it, if he does not change his mind, if he recognizes those deeds of Mara for what they are, then it is quite impossible that he who courses correctly in the perfections should not reach all knowledge. Mara, the evil one, cannot possibly gain entry to a bodhisattva who not only courses but also trains himself correctly, who does not lack the practices described by the Tathagatas, who is completely adjusted to this mental activity which is associated with the perfections. If a bodhisattva recognizes the deeds of Mara, if, when he hears discouraging remarks from strangers, he does not desist, nor slide back, nor change his mind, if he perceives those deeds of Mara for what they are, then this is another token of irreversibility. Furthermore, an irreversible bodhisattva does not piece together a perception of form, etc., nor produce one. For the irreversible bodhisattva who has, through dharmas which are empty of their own marks, definitely entered on the certainty that he will win salvation as a bodhisattva, does not apprehend even that dharma, and so he cannot piece it together or produce it. One says, therefore, that a bodhisattva is irreversible if he patiently accepts the cognition of non-production. This is another token of irreversibility. Furthermore, Mara, the evil one, comes along in the guise of a monk and tries to deter the bodhisattva with the words, "The same as space is this all knowledge. It is a dharma which is not. It is non-existent. Who can anoint himself for it? Who fully know it? There is no one who could go forth to it. There is no one who could fully know it. Nothing that should be fully known. There is no one who would understand. There is nothing that should be understood. At all times, those dharmas are the same as space. It is useless for you to resist. Revealed as a deed of Mara is this doctrine that one should know full enlightenment. It is not the Buddha's teaching." A son or daughter of good family should then cognize, realize, and know that this kind of critical examination is just a deed of Mara. After he has made this reflection, he should make his mind firm, unshakable, irresistible. This is another token of irreversibility.